Hey, it's Kelly Dix. When I'm working with sellers, I like to prepare them for closing with a closing checklist that I have. And in my checklist, I have 12 items for them to make sure to review before closing. Item number 1, when closing is cleared and the buyer's loan is clear to go, we will set a closing date that's mutually agreed upon by all parties. So you should get your final paperwork 1 to 2 days ahead of time, so you'll be able to review all your costs and your proceeds for closing. Plan on being at closing approximately an hour if your buyer is doing a mortgage. And when you get your proceeds from closing, you can decide if you want to get a certified check, or you also may be able to get a wire transferred from the title company directly to your financial institution. Okay, item number 2. In most purchase agreements, it states that you need to keep the property maintained up until closing. So if something breaks or needs repair, you need to take care of that. Also, you need to keep the utilities on, and most purchase agreements also ask you to leave it in broom clean condition for the new buyer. So that means it needs to be clear of any paint cans, any garbage. It needs to be halfway decent when you give it to the new buyer. They don't want all your junk. Okay, item number 3, you will need to bring a valid photo ID. Most of the times it's your driver's license, and it cannot be expired. It needs to be a valid ID to bring to closing. Okay, item number 4. This is a good time to get all of your items together, such as garage door openers, extra keys, access codes to the garage, and anything else that you feel the buyer may need. This is a good time too to just double check to make sure you have all your personal items out of the home, because once you sell and sign those documents, you're not going to be able to get back in because it's not your home anymore. And you may also want to provide additional information such as garbage day or contractors you may have used to do your lawn service or things like that. Number 5, you may want to complete a change of address form at the post office, and also take care of any automatic delivery services like your prescriptions, magazine subscriptions, or any address information on your Amazon order, things like that. Make sure your address is getting changed. You may also want to change your information on your address with your bank, your credit cards, and your place of employment. Number 7. You'll also want to cancel any automatic payments on your utilities, maybe your homeowner's insurance, any bills that you automatically pay. You may want to cancel those so they don't continue to get paid. When you usually have an escrow account, if you have a mortgage on the property and you sell, your escrow account will be refunded back to you after closing, usually through your lender. It may take a little bit of time. As well as your homeowner's insurance, you'll want to make sure you call them and tell them that you've moved and cancel your policy, so you might be able to get any refund if you've paid for your homeowner's insurance policy in advance. Number 8, if you have any rented equipment in your home, such as your cable equipment or water softeners or any type of things like that, you want to make sure that you cancel those services. You may need to return that property, and hopefully you have it in the purchase agreement that it was a rental piece of equipment. Okay, number 9, you'll want to call your utility companies and make sure that you're transferring the service over into the new buyers. Okay, number 10, in most purchase agreements, the buyer is allowed to do a final walkthrough on the property just before closing. Usually it's within 48 hours. And the purpose on the buyer's end is just to make sure all the terms of the agreement are met. So number 11, in our area, the water does stay with the property address. So usually at closing, a final water bill will have to be ordered so that the seller pays for the water right up to closing, and then the new buyer will be responsible for the water from closing forward. So what normally happens is a final water bill gets ordered and it gets paid at closing, and if some reason the water bill cannot be at closing, the title company may hold a few $100s in an escrow account just to make sure that the final water bill is paid for the new buyers, so there are no liens on the property for the buyer moving forward. Now, one last item, number 12, You may want to consider exchanging contact information at closing between buyer and seller, just in case maybe something still gets delivered to the property that's yours, maybe an Amazon order or something you didn't know about, or your prescriptions, or some mail that didn't get transferred and it looks like it's important. So you may want to exchange information to maybe contact each other probably within the next month or so would be fine. And this way you'll be able to still get your things and not have them returned. Also too, in my case, my company sends out a survey after closing just to ask how my services were. And it would be great if you can give me a great recommendation. And if something was wrong, please reach out to me so I can always learn from something that happened. That's it.